We're going to start right out with Kim Jess. And first I want to say hi to Mike. Mike's behind me. He's my co-host. And we're going to bring him up here in a little bit. Do I hear a little music?
Yes. How appropriate.
How much is that doggy in the window? Well, these dogs you won't find in the window.
No, but you will find them at the Animal Protective Foundation.
Right. And tell me about these dogs. Well, and you brought Annie Garwood with you.
Yes, I did.
Hi, Annie.
I needed some help today because
we got two dogs.
We've got a handful, as you can see. These two dogs were surrendered together. And this happens sometimes when animals come in. These two are very attached to each other, and they need to go home together. So that's why we brought them both. And you can see they have some anxiety if they get separated. They're constantly checking to see where the other one is.
And can you tell me a little something about their home? Or what was it like?
They were surrendered to us because evidently there was too many animals.
Okay.
So sometimes we don't get too much history about that, which is fine. You know,
but these two are attached to each other.
They're very attached to each other. And they're both a few years old. And this is Cookie.
So they don't have puppy behavior. That's a good thing
for
a lot of people.
They are full grown. They're not going to get any bigger.
So no surprises.
No. What you see is what you get.
Right.
And they're very sweet, very attached to people. You can tell.
Yeah, they're
they didn't
lovely.
know us before this morning, and they're perfectly fine. And this is Cookie. He's a boy. And we think he's like a Chihuahua Jack Russell mix, some kind of terrier.
He's got that Jack Russell feel.
Yeah, he's got that look. And what a face.
Yeah, he's got a beautiful face. Hey, sweetie. Hey, look at that.
Pie.
You've got such a pretty face. Oh.
And this is his sister, Lucy.
Hi, Lucy. I don't think you came from the same mom.
No, they're adopted. They're adopted. Don't tell adoptive siblings. Yeah. But they're sweethearts, and they're currently up for adoption. They probably will go quickly because they're small, and everybody wants small dogs. This one, a little bit more difficult adoption because we're really insisting they go home together. So too. But I'm sure we will find these guys
the right
at home.
owner will be perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that being said, there's plenty of other dogs
and cats
and rabbits that are looking for homes back at the shelter. We really did a big push to try to get them home for the holidays, and we were very successful. We got quite a few cats out in the last week. We waived adoption fees.
And what a great thing, the last cat you had on the show got adopted right on the show.
That was very cool. That was wonderful.
Kind of a therapy cat, right?
It was. That was a cat that gave hugs and is doing quite well. Yeah. So that was great. So that's why, all this exposure.
But I don't think you're going to adopt these two dogs on today's show.
Unless somebody.
I don't know. How about it, Franco, Steve, Mike, Timothy?
They make great pets.
They do.
And there's nothing greater than
now,
that.
People might be seeing this. This might be running even after the New Year's, but if it's before the New Year's and they would like to maybe make a donation so they could get a tax break.
Absolutely.
Would
yes.
the Animal Protective Foundation be a good place?
It would be a wonderful place. Yeah. We're run by donations, so we really depend on the support of the community to be able to help animals like these two here. So we're running a special, and I brought we have an ornament. So for a $25 donation, you get an animal protective ornament and a certificate that you can have, in honor of somebody. And a lot of people are doing this. It's a great thing if you don't know, what kind of gift to give somebody for the holidays. And they love animals. You can make a $25 donation in their name.
This is definitely a lap dog.
This is. I mean, look at this. What a lover. He's just great.
So if someone would like to adopt these as a pair, or if they're gone, you can adopt another animal because you never know. They might get snapped up today. Who knows?
Who knows?
What would they do? They just come over to 53 Maple?
Absolutely. Come on in. If you can't come in, you can look on our website first. And we have pictures of all the dogs, most of the cats, and the other small animals that we have. And if you see somebody you're interested in, come on in, or just stop by. A lot of people do that. I'm in the neighborhood I live by, and we've got regulars that come by, week to week or month to month.
What sweet dogs! Oh my God! I mean, these are incredible dogs.
They are. I mean, really, if you're looking for an animal, go to a shelter.
Animals. Oh,
You
yeah,
know,
animals.
Animals, any kind of pet. Really check your shelters
I always
first.
do. Well, you know that. I'm a firm
there's
believer
great-
in the.
I mean, it
Right.
doesn't get better than this,
Right.
you know?
So I know that we always have said don't give Christmas gifts, and of course it's Christmas Day that we're this is the first airing of it. That we don't recommend getting a surprise animal for a gift.
Come on in with the family.
But give
Yep.
a little note. You know, I hope maybe you gave a
Absolutely.
note that says, "I'm getting you a dog, but you're going to have to go pick it out
Right,
yourself."
right, and make it a fun day.
And make
you
it a
know?
fun day, yeah. And Annie, you're brand new to the show, Annie Garwood. Tell me, you're working at.
Yep, I'm the volunteer coordinator at the Animal Protective Foundation, and I've been there since March. So
Oh, well,
this is my
welcome.
first holiday season there.
Well, then you'll have to come on the show sometime
Yes.
and get some more volunteers for
Sure.
for the Animal Protective Foundation.
Yes.
It's nice to meet you,
We're
Annie.
always looking for
Yeah,
volunteers.
Great. And you've got a great dog on your lap too, huh?
Yeah, this
Great.
is Lucy.
So she needed to double up here because of the two animals, and I'm so glad that she did bring the two because it gives you an idea of the type of dogs that are available, even though that these need to go out as a pair. Thank you so much for being here, and I wish you a happy New Year, and I hope that you
Same to
have
you.
a great New Year for the Animal Protective Foundation. You do such a great job there.
Well, thank you so
Yeah,
much, Ann.
Good. And nice to meet you, Annie.
Nice to meet
We're
you
going to
too.
take
Thank
just a
you.
quick break, and when we come back, we're going right into our entertainment segment of the show. And Mike Purcell will be right here on the set with Steve VanZandt, and we're going to be talking fun. Stay tuned.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and happy holidays. We're so glad that you're here today. I want to introduce to you the members of the Schenectady High School student-directed jazz combo. On bass, we have Dan Murphy. On drum set, we have David Shimkus. On trumpet, we have Sam Veglia. Austin Liebers on saxophone. And our student director, Doug Stefaniak on guitar.
Well, here we are, and we have a lineup here, and I want everybody on, and Mike is my co-host over here, Mike Purcell. You all heard Mike Purcell. He appears everywhere, especially through the holiday season. You got more gigs than I know what's going on.
It's been crazy this year.
Yeah.
I've been all over the place.
But that's a good thing.
Oh, it's wonderful. I hope I have the energy to continue.
Right.
You know, this is one of my favorite things to do.
Well,
Yeah,
good.
I
And
love
you come
being
on
here.
almost every year, I think.
I love it.
Yeah.
This is like my third year, I think.
And we decided to co-host this year,
Yep.
which was fun. And you brought Steve VanZandt.
Yes, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, what is this?
I had.
Yeah, you better finish that sentence.
My first guest canceled, and then my second guest, and I'm kidding.
So you're down at the bottom, right?
I'm
Poor
kidding.
Steve.
I wanted.
No
to-
respect at all.
I've been wanting to get this guy on, and when we talked about co-hosting, he was my first thought.
Yeah.
Immediately.
You did. You told me that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did.
That's what he told me too, so he's going to stick to that story.
It's his story and he's sticking to it.
Absolutely.
I brought Franco Spoto. Yeah. Franco he's been on the show before, and he's a vocalist, absolutely wonderful vocalist.
Very talented.
He does opera and he does show. I mean, you do it all, don't you?
It depends on the phone call, but yes.
And you're a voice teacher.
Yes, I am.
He's a voice teacher. So we're going to bring him on a little bit later in the show, but I want everybody to know who's here. And who did you bring to?
Well, this is my nephew, Tim.
Oh, nice to see you.
I got to tell you, I was thinking about, bringing people on, and I thought, I'd like to bring on a real professional, and I thought of Steve.
All right, go ahead.
And then I said, there's the seasoned performer, and then there's the young, aspiring performer, and I thought of Tim.
Thank you.
Because Tim just, he has those elements of, he loves to perform, he's been in shows, as an actor, he's had leads in so many shows in school,
Yeah.
they grab him.
In fact, he's playing Tiny Tim right now for the holidays.
Anyways, and he's a terrific piano player, so I thought.
So we're going to see his talent
Yes,
today.
yes.
And we want to also acknowledge that today is Tim's birthday. So,
Happy birthday.
Oh!
Thank you.
So
And
that
you're
means
how old?
automatically all his gifts are cut in half, is that right?
Yeah, pretty much.
And you're 15 today?
13.
13 today. Okay, great. So I'm glad that on your birthday, on your 13th birthday, you can say, right where you've been.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
We're going to take them out to lunch afterwards. So that'll be fun. Okay, so that's the lineup. And this is all you get. But what you get is a small group with a big package.
There you go.
Steve is well-known in the area. Franco's well-known. Both of them have done cruise ships. They've been around. And Mike, of course, has been around. He does the GE Theater. He does everything. He does main stage proctors. We've seen him everywhere. So I'm going to let you two go, and then we're going to get you back on again. Don't go too far. And then we're going to talk about Steve. Oh, what the mic? What's wrong? Oh. Okay, take off the mic. Okay, sorry. We're just doing it as we go along. You understand.
That's all right. I actually had to have a handheld because I feel naked without it. It's kind
Yeah.
of like George Burns without his cigar. It would be impossible. So I have to
Or
have a
Groucho
handheld.
Marx.
Exactly. So I have to have a handheld. So I probably caused a confusion with all the miking.
I thought
there.
that was you.
That was me. Absolutely.
Steve, I like to start off. This is just me. To hear the Steve VanZandt story. No, I know it's a
It's
great.
like a Casey Kasem letter almost.
It's a great.
Oh, God,
No,
I'm
it's a great
Casey Kasem.
story. I mean, and I thought to myself, if I'm co-hosting, I'm going to ask the question:
There you
Who
go.
is Steve VanZandt?
That's a good question. I'm still trying to figure that part out, but and the reason why Mike is saying that is, of course, because I specialize in doing celebrity voices and things like that, and that's actually how I started. And it really came from being the middle child of 9 siblings, and you really need attention. So what better way to get attention, right?
I was number
Then-
5 out of 8.
Well, there you go. See,
go.
we're the
know
the middle children are always the nutcases without any real jobs, So, and that's what's going on here. But no, to get attention, I would mimic family members, and I was, of course, being a baby boomer like Mike, we grew up with television in the center of our lives as far as entertainment, and you just parlayed that into, some comedy and trying to get laughs from the family, and parlayed into some stand-up and becoming class clown, and then it ended up being a career move for me.
You know, it's a healthy thing.
It is.
don't
Oh,
you?
today more than ever. You know,
Yeah.
with you put on. It's funny. I was watching the news with my wife recently, and I said, you know, the first 20 minutes of the newscast is all negative, depressing news, and that's why comedy is so important. You know. So once I got into high school and realized I could make people laugh, about maybe a year or so later.
Where'd you go to where'd you
I went to right here in the Capital District at Columbia High School in East
Oh,
Greenbush.
yeah, yeah.
And a year from graduation, I ended up on the Gong Show out in California.
Oh,
Remember that?
stop.
Oh, yeah,
The Gong
yeah.
Show?
And that's a funny story in
I
itself.
love that show.
Yeah.
That was
well, how that happened, that was kind of the...
Did you get the hook or
No,
what?
I got a perfect 30
Yay!
score.
You got a perfect score.
In fact, it was the score was so perfect, I'm here in Schenectady now, huh?
That's right.
Yeah.
You moved right
The
up.
career is on fire. So, that got me some notoriety locally, and then I started going to New York and working the comedy clubs, and that basically was the beginning. So that's to answer Mike's question. That's how I got started.
I have to ask you one question.
Sure.
Are you a Rich Little fan?
I was when I was a kid. Everybody had their idol, and I always
Because you like impersonations.
absolutely, and
he was-
I idolized him. And I remember the first time I saw him was at the old Starlight Theater. In,
Oh, yeah,
in
the one they
Latham.
just tore down.
Exactly, and I think I've seen him at Proctor's too. He does a one-man presidential show a few years back where he does all the presidents with this White House Oval Office set, which was kind of cool. So, but there's a whole new set of young impressionists that are coming up, you know, and I just always had a knack for the mimicry thing, and it just kind of took a life of its own after a while. You know, so.
And how did you meet him? Why didn't you?
Oh, I think it was years ago. I was playing, probably maybe before that, but it was
Right.
a comedy club
Right.
in Albany. And a guy who ran the club was Tom Nicky.
Tom Nicky, yep.
And he had me playing piano, and I was just doing some stuff, and Steve was one of the headliners there. And you know, but over the years, we've crossed paths.
Yeah, Mike has actually booked me for some things as well.
A1 Entertainment.
Exactly, Mike's A1 Entertainment. Get that plug in there. And but it's funny, being entertainers, we don't really see each other all that much. You know, we're lucky once or twice every couple of years we see each other. But it's nice to sit right here with him and talk, because it's a business that you really have to. Have to stay on. You to stay busy. You have to pursue and stay on top of things.
And network.
And
Do a lot
network.
of network.
And exactly. And Mike, he's in a lot of different things as well as I am. I do the voiceover work in addition to doing stand-up comedy. So you kind of keep your hands in a lot of different things, to stay busy. And that's what we do.
And I understand that you because Mike said he's headlined for so many.
Right.
Who have you headlined for?
Oh well, I've worked pretty much all over the country and Canada. I've even, as you mentioned, cruise ships. I've been all over the world performing on ships as well. I've performed in the Caribbean at resorts. I did 3 months in Aruba at one point. I was literally living there. But I'm in my mid-50s now. I'm not trying to travel quite as extensively as I used to. Doing a lot more corporate events. Customized comedy. In fact, getting back to impressionists, there's a gentleman, unfortunately just passed away, that does voices. He did presidential voices. He's a young guy, about my age, middle-aged guy, I should say. And he specialized in doing all the presidents. And he literally made a whole career out of having a Hollywood makeup artist make him up to look exactly like the presidents. He would go out to Fortune 500 companies and do a presentation. And that's all he did. He stopped doing the stand-up and just went out and did these customized corporate comedy shows as the president. Or
He found a niche.
He found a niche. Getting back to my point, he found a
Yeah.
niche, and that's what we look for—a niche.
Yeah.
So
this guy does so many voices. you could name some performer, and he just goes right into it. Like, for example, well, let's think. It's Christmas time, right? And It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh yeah, you can't. It seems you just can't put the television on anymore without Jimmy being on the screen. No matter how many times I see that picture, too, I cry like a child. I guess that's the whole point of Christmas. It's about kids. Which camera am I looking at here? But I
They'll
love
find
it.
you.
Yep.
I love that, how he does that.
George Bailey.
Yeah, one of my favorite movies, and forget about Christmas time, man. I mean, any time of the year. We put it on in 4th of July weekend sometimes. It's crazy.
There's a whole generation doesn't
How
know who
about
Jimmy Stewart
Lionel
is.
Barrymore?
No, now you're really dating me. That's a little bit. But of course, without the beauty of television and the 24-hour stations now is that these things take a life of their own. There's a whole generation that that's the guy in Wonderful Life.
Well, I understand that
Yeah.
the movie A Wonderful Life
Yeah.
was not well received
It
when
was
it
not.
first came out.
Indeed.
And it was when it went on, what is it,
Television.
fair use.
Exactly. When it became free to the stations.
Everybody was showing it, and it became a hit.
She's a historian as well. She's
Oh,
amazing.
she knows her. She
She's
knows
right.
her trivia.
Absolutely.
Definitely knows.
And that movie itself has taken a whole life of its own. There's a convention.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, in the town. There's a town in New York State supposedly that was the model for the village, and they have a whole Hollywood or a whole holiday.
And it was filmed in the summer. Did you know that? It was
Yeah,
very
right.
hot.
That's all. That snow's all fake. So it's amazing. Hollywood even back then was special effects.
So, Steve.
Yeah.
What would you like to do for us? A little bit of performance.
Well,
stuff?
I was thinking. One of the things I do a lot of is parody, and I thought that I was thinking this the other day. I was watching a Jack Nicholson movie, and I got thinking, what would Jack Nicholson sound like if he was doing The Night Before Christmas?
I'm sorry.
"'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring." Watch the wire go crazy right there. Not even a mouse. That's about it. I'm just going to stand here and look at you. Somebody better start laughing because Jack's getting upset.
Well, I was laughing before because...
I don't know. I'm crazy. I don't know what I'm doing.
No, I love
I'll tell you,
it.
no respect at all.
Well, that's a little Rodney Dangerfield.
Little Rodney, baby. You kidding me? I'll tell you. But here's actually, I don't know if I can pull this up, but, and I don't want to hog the limelight here because Mike...
Please hog.
Oh, stop. But,
You're going to do Miss Piggy next?
I can, absolutely. But maybe we can get back to this, so we'll break this up. But I was watching, and I started to tell you this story, and I don't even think I told you this. I was watching the news about this time last year when the Wall Street occupiers were tearing up Oakland, California, and it was starting to get me upset because this was their own neighborhood. And I kept saying to the TV as my wife and I watched, they have to go, they have to go, they got to go, they got to go. And for some reason, the song Let It Snow popped into my head. And I went in my office and I rewrote the lyrics to the song and changed the whole tune to Time to Go. And I sang it as Dean Martin and recorded it in my home studio. And then I in turn thought it sounded pretty good, and I sold it to a syndicator out in L.A. And they in turn had it, their syndicators or their affiliates actually played it nationwide. So it came like a little mini 1-month hit, parody hit anyway. And I have it on my phone here, but maybe at some point we'll play it for you.
Oh, that would be great.
And it's
Love
again,
to
I
hear
do it
it.
as Dean Martin, and who I always loved. So I don't really sing unless I'm doing somebody else. My own voice is really horrible.
Really?
I'm like this man over here, he can sing.
Oh,
I can sing.
Franco, we can't
Franco's
wait to get him
amazing.
on here.
He's amazing.
Get you off the set so we can
Absolutely,
get him
no
on.
respect at all. But he can sing, and Mike can sing, and Mike can play. I'm not very musical unless it comes to singing impressions. So.
Well, if you want me to accompany you, I can do that too.
Yeah, I just we could probably but I don't have the lyrics. So I mean, this is all kind of like pre-produced. But maybe we could. I don't know. We could do some.
We're improving this show.
Yes, we are. We could do some. We can do some Rodney lines, and you can do the room shot.
Do you do any presidents?
Yes.
You do Von Meter?
No. Von Meter. Now, in case you don't know who that is,
I do.
That's a great story, though. Of course, he became famous for doing President Kennedy.
Yeah.
And his career ended obviously on November 22nd, 1963.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there was a guy with a niche. He made a whole career out of doing the president's voice, and he did this album called First Family.
He did a couple because I have both.
You probably remember
the album.
that.
I have both albums.
And unbelievable. But again, that's all he did. And once the president was gone, his career was gone as well.
Yeah.
So I try to keep the impressions fresh and current. And I also, there's some classic ones that people want to hear. And they really do well in when people want to do commercials or parody. Every once in a while, I'll take a voice that everybody's going to know that crosses generations, and I'll write a funny song. Or I'll do a bit on it, But again, getting back to television, thank God, these voices and these personalities and these celebrities kind of live forever.
They live forever.
And that's the beauty.
Now, if for instance you decided to do a commercial using the voice of, say, George Burns,
Right.
I'm just picking that, or Groucho Marx. We'll pick somebody who's got.
George Burns is one of my favorites doing a commercial because everybody remembers instantly who he is.
That's,
But,
well, the question I was going to ask is.
Do I get in trouble?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
How did you know that I was going to ask that?
Well, because it's come up once in a while.
That
Actually,
was a little Robert De Niro there, wasn't there?
no, a little bit. I look a little bit like De Niro, though. Huh? A little
You
bit,
need a little something
bit.
right there.
I need a bit, huh? I'm watching you, Ann. I'm watching you. I'm watching you, Mike. Huh? But no, this is actually a funny story. And again, I feel like I'm monopolizing because I want to talk to Mike here. But back when Nicholson was in town doing Ironweed, the movie Ironweed, which is based William Kennedy, the local author.
Mm-hmm, yep.
Coincidentally, a commercial that I had done in his voice started airing the same day they started filming the commercial. It was for a Mr. Sub sandwich shop.
Oh.
And so at the time, I'm doing radio full time locally. And we get a letter from a guy claiming to be Nicholson's attorney. And we thought it was a gag. We said, yeah, Jack Nicholson's,
He's going to
sure,
call
yeah.
me, sure.
So it turned out it was true. And it was probably the best thing that ever happened to Mr. Sub because they got more publicity from just the newspaper stories.
Yeah.
And then, fast forward a couple weeks, I get to meet Nicholson. He was watching a boxing match on closed circuit TV at a local hotel that my buddy managed. And he says, he's actually here. Would you like to meet him? And I met him. And he introduced me as the guy that was doing his voice in the commercial. He said, nobody does me better than me.
Funny.
It was a really funny story.
Well, we're going to let Mike take over
Absolutely.
here. And
Well, no. Where are we? Are we going to do some?
Yeah, we'll do
music.
some music. Absolutely.
Sure.
If we are,
and I'll
shift
get out
over
of
to-
here and let you guys
I'll
do
go
that.
over with you.
And
Sure.
then we'll bring on, we'll talk to maybe Tim and get Franco on
Yeah,
here.
absolutely. And like I said, I can't sing like Franco, but you know.
Okay, let's see. What are we playing here?
Well, one of my favorite Christmas songs is that, as I said, "Let It Snow." So maybe we can do it as Dean Martin. Hope I can remember the words. Oh, the weather outside is frightful. Oh, the fire is so delightful. Since we've no place to go, let it snow, let it ho. I want to tell you, you can drink booze out of a bottle or an old tomato can, Mike, but booze will never kill you, but an old tomato can. I don't know. It's hey, Rodney is Santa. I'll tell you, Rodney don't get no respect. No respect at all. Are you kidding me? I'll tell you, my wife cooked Christmas dinner, right, Mike? She cooked this. She's a bad cook. I'll tell you how bad she is. Let me give you an idea how bad my wife cooks. Last week, the flies chipped in. They got the screen door fixed. She's a bad cook. She says to me all the time, take out the garbage. I said, you take it. You cooked it. You take it out. That's how bad she is. No respect at all. I don't know. It could be anybody you want. Yell somebody out. And any impressions you want. Any at all. Any De Niro. Huh?
De Niro.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Pacino.
I'm watching you. Hooah!
What was the?
Obama. I'll get myself in trouble on this one. No, but George Bush doing "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," I think.
"'Twas the night before Christmas, and at the White House, I was sleeping with my spouse. I don't remember the rest.
I don't know. What
What was it? Was it Archie Bunker?
Archie Bunker. Oh yeah, what would Archie and Enid, what would they do at Christmas time? They would do a duet, right? What Christmas duet could we do? Well, I could do All in the Family theme, of course, but that's not really Christmassy.
It's all right.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Boy, the way Glenn Miller played songs that make the head parade. Get away from me, you. Huh?
You like that? Okay.
Holy jeez, I come home from a hard day's work. The first thing I see is some 6'5" guy eating my food over here. Meathead, you.
I always get stupid questions to you. I'm 6'5". You know what they always say to you? How's the weather up there? Do you play basketball? I don't go looking for midgets going, hey, do you play miniature golf? How you doing down there? So I get the stupid questions all the time.
How about a little Rocky?
Sylvester Stallone, doing the night before Christmas. It was the night before Christmas. And I said, yo, Adrian, what did you give me for Christmas? She said, a brain. Absolutely. I actually used to do a bit where I actually taped my eyes down to make myself look like Sylvester Stallone.
I remember it.
Remember that? But did I hear somebody else?
Yeah, I want Schwarzenegger.
Well, absolutely, but here's the problem. I only sing Hotel California. Absolutely.
Well, you know, a lot of this material is inappropriate for a television on Christmas, so you'll have to come to my comedy shows to see some of the, not that I'm a dirty comedian, but some of it's not exactly TV friendly, but what are you going to do?
It's fantastic, Steve.
Oh, thank you. Hey, Mike Purcell, you got to hear this guy play. He's unbelievable. And Franco and him are going to sing together. I can only sing like celebrities. These guys actually have real voices, so it's a big difference.
Steve, pleasure having you.
Hey, my pleasure. I'll tell you, what a guy. Mike Purcell, everybody, what a guy, you know?
Steve VanZandt.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Hey,
maybe we get around to we'll play the Dean Martin version on the phone. Thanks a lot.
That would be good.
Absolutely.
We're doing it now.
We got Franco up here.
Hey there.
You want me to just hit it, or do you want to tell us a little bit about, you know?
Well, here I am with a handheld, and it reminds me of the fact that when I started out doing my own show, I had worked with Sammy Kahn doing his show, Words and Music, and I really enjoyed. Before that, I'd been on Broadway, and I had done opera and classical things coast to coast and in Europe. But it was the first genuine experience of the communication level of doing your own show. It's a very different experience. And I decided that's what I wanted to do. And that was the early 80s, and in those days, you used a handheld. And most artists got used to the other hand working with the cord. A number of reasons. First, to keep it out of your way as you were walking, and secondly, it added to the rhythm, because every time you bounced it, it went thump. But in any case, then along came wireless mics. And for the first few years of using a wireless mic, let's pretend this is wireless, I'd be going like this, reaching for the bloody cord. Any old how. I don't know what that has to do with Christmas, but
I think that's funny. Perspective of a performer.
The evolution.
Well, I can remember the first time I used a wireless mic, and I went like this.
Yeah.
I used to spin the mic on the to catch it, right? And guess what? There's no wires. There it goes.
Oh, wow. Wow. Hi, everybody. I wish you a very happy holiday season, whatever you celebrate. Frosted window panes, gleaming candles inside, painted candy canes on the tree. Santa's on his way, he's filled his sleigh with things for you and for me. It's that time of year when the world falls in love. Every song you hear seems to say, Merry Christmas, may your New Year dreams come true. And this song of mine in 3/4 time wishes you and yours the same thing too. I almost wore a red jacket today. I'm glad it's yours. It's that time of year when the world falls in love. Every song you hear seems to say, Merry Christmas, may your New Year dreams come true. And this song of mine in 3/4 time wishes you and yours the same thing too.
Franco
Thank
Spoto.
You know, there are piano players, and then there are pianists. Today I've met a pianist. First time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
I
very
appreciate
much.
that. It's my pleasure. I love your singing.
Thank you.
Franco, it's always good to see you.
And you.
And it's so nice to hear you play with Mike.
Yeah, well, we've got to do it some more.
It's a first.
Really?
Yeah.
First time you
I
played?
had not met Mike before.
Really?
No,
Oh
I'd
my
heard the
God.
name, but
You know, it's like you see movie stars' names and you think everybody knows each other. I guess that is true. They don't.
it is an amazingly small world. But there are moments, pockets of breaks in the degrees of separation, so to speak.
Yeah, we thank you so much for being here today.
Well, it's my
Franco,
pleasure.
And we'll bring it back on again if we have time here.
Okay.
And you're going to bring Tim on too, aren't you? And so
Tim, come on
I'm
down.
letting you take the lead again.
I will. You want to sit here and talk a bit before he plays?
No, that's okay. Well, I mean, I have my mic on, so I can
okay.
just stand.
Tim, come on over on this side here.
Now, Tim is your nephew, and
is
I
my
understand
nephew.
he's a protege.
Well,
And you
of
taught him
sorts.
everything you know.
No, I have not. Tim is one of those people who, you know, when you grow up in a musical family, you're surrounded with all the music and everything, he has that same, I call it the gene, the music gene. And I have 6 kids, and all my kids, they're pretty musical, but this guy here, he just picks up on stuff like you would not believe. So I'd be sitting there playing the piano, and he'd kind of copy me. And so, as a matter of fact, as a kind of a joke, I had him come on a show at Proctor's last year. I was doing a GE show, and I said, you know, kids these days, said all they do is play their video. Remember that, Tim?
Yeah, I remember.
Play their video games, you know, and that's all they do. They sit and watch the TV, the video games, they're on the computer. I said, none of them take the time to practice the piano and really learn anything, right?
Yeah.
And I said, I wish there was one kid out there who would do that. And then I heard a voice say,
I do.
and I said, I doubt very much there's anybody out there who really can do these sorts of things, you know. And of course he said,
I do.
and I said, who is that out there in the audience? And he came out, and I said, okay, this is before the audience was in on the gag, you know. I said, all right, fine, well,
I'll hold the mic, and you go
I
ahead.
said, play this. Okay, yeah, fine, you can do that. Anybody can do that, yeah. I'll get him with this one. Go ahead. You know, when I was younger, my dad played something called the boogie woogie. And I said, there's no way this kid can pick up on, I used to pick up on my dad playing the boogie woogie. He started playing like this, you know, and I'd watch my dad, he'd playing. One more time. Good job, Tim. I'll tell you, I have so much fun. Tim just does a great job of playing things. We have so much fun. And this is, you know, in a family, this is how things are passed from generation to generation. I love sharing with him ideas and things that he likes to play. And he'll come up to me and say, Uncle Mike, how do you play this? And you know, and I'll show him, and then he'll copy me, and then he'll pick up on ideas. I used to do the same thing with my dad.
Yeah.
So Tim, by the way, goes to CBA. He's in his 9th grade, right?
7th grade.
Oh, my gosh, 7th grade. I'm thinking high school, the old high school, the way they used to have it, 9 to 12. You're in your first year. I kept thinking freshman. So, but he's just turned 13 today.
Yeah.
So what would you like to play for us by yourself, Tim?
I'll play Jingle Bells, I guess. Pretty cool version of that.
All right. Good job. So Tim, so you like playing the piano. I mean, it's like a passion for you, right? It's like, that's the thing, it's a passion for me too. And it's a rare thing when you find somebody who really loves playing and everything. What are your future aspirations? I know you've been in shows and everything.
I hope to be a professional musician someday. That's something that I've always wanted to do. Or maybe an actor, something in the entertainment and arts.
Want to pick the mic up maybe if you...
Yeah.
He's had leads. He's a natural on stage. What was the show you were in at Schenectady Community College?
I was in Sleepy Hollow, and I was also in Charlie Brown, too.
He was in Sleepy Hollow?
Sleepy Hollow and Charlie
Brown.
Yes.
As well as having the lead for several shows at your
at my school, yeah. The Nutcracker and A Christmas Carol.
Right. That's pretty cool. And I tell you, he just was a natural.
Yeah.
He does do singing, although he hasn't incorporated it into with his playing yet. But he's done it on stage. He's sung many in his lead parts, and he does a great job. Yeah, but he's working. I think he's doing great. I think he's doing phenomenal, and that's why I wanted to have Tim on, because he represents the new generation of performers coming up, and a lot of fun.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great. So. Do you want to do one more for us?
I'm not sure I have anything planned yet.
Oh, okay.
So.
All right, that's fine. So, Ann, how about we...
Let me get my camera back.
Oh, okay.
Okay. You can bring both of them back in again, and we'll chat a little bit more. Let's talk about what you did. You got any New Year's resolutions?
Here, let's go over this.
I'm sure Steve does. He's going to learn a new impersonation.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm always, just to be busier. Thank you.
Great. Do you have a mic there? Do we have a mic? Whoops. Yeah, we'll get a mic for him. Good. So do you have any news? Really, do you have a New Year's resolution?
Yeah, I was serious to be busy, to stay busier. I think when you're a performer and you don't want to commit to doing the heavy travel that you generally have to do, I find that what I'm trying to do is more corporate stuff and more customized corporate stuff, so that I can do the one-nighters as opposed to having to go away for 2 or 3 or 4 nights. And do for a long time I did the comedy clubs, I did the cruise ships, the resorts, and oftentimes you're committed to a lot of days away.
And Franco's been on cruise ships too.
Yes.
And you were saying that 5 months. Did I hear that correctly?
My first seasons on a ship were with Costa Cruise Lines, and they wouldn't book you for 5 days or a week like many. Well, first of all, it was very different back then.
Right.
Talking shortly after the Civil War. And, the contracts were for the season. So I would join the ship as soon as it arrived in our waters from Europe and stay on until it crossed back to Europe. So it would be 5 months.
And did you do those gigs too?
I think the longest stint I ever did back to back was probably like 5 weeks. And there's a reason for it too, in terms of economics from the cruise line's perspective. It's a lot easier to keep an entertainer on the ship that might get off and get on another ship, as opposed to flying new talent in all the time. So they want you to.
It makes sense, yeah.
It makes total sense, and that's why it just makes more economic sense for them to do that. But that's a lifestyle that's not really conducive to family life.
Well, I was going to say family life. It's
most of
very
the guys,
tough.
and I'm sure Franco would vouch for this, most of the guys you meet on the ship that are our age, they've been married 4 times, because their life is on the road.
Yeah.
And I met a young guy, interesting, when I first started doing ships. He was about 29 years old, and he goes, I got lucky. I started doing the ships in my early 20s, and I decided I was just going to forego my 20s, do as much work as they want me to do, and then save my money. I lived the last 2 months of the year with my mom, which is what he was doing, and he was able to sock away $300,000. He went out and bought a house with cash, and he goes, I didn't go to the birthday parties, I didn't have the girlfriend, but that's what I do.
It paid off in a way.
Yeah,
and what was his plan?
Exactly. But the point is, no matter what level you're at in entertainment, there's some sacrifice involved. From the national level to people that more regional like us, you have to hustle to get the work, and it's a tough business, and that's why I've kind of parlayed into the voiceover stuff somewhat. I've always gotten some work there.
There's always business there.
Yeah, there is, but I created a little home studio, and now with the internet being what it is, you can literally have clients all over the world and never meet them face to face and do work for them.
And Franco, you have your own studio too, don't you?
Well, I don't have a recording studio. I have a teaching studio.
Okay.
But I also teach. I have students in Dallas, in Miami, in New Jersey, because I use
right over the internet.
Yeah, I use
Amazing.
video conferencing online, and I teach online.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
My goodness, that's
It's the
great.
new
It's
age.
probably not. It's probably not quite as good as having you in the room with them. However,
No, it
it's,
isn't.
It's never going to be that good. But the technology has opened up a lot more opportunities.
Everything you can hear because of the technology. You can
right.
hear and you can see. It's
And
real
it's
time.
digital, so it's clear.
Well,
Exactly.
depending on the speed of the connection
Oh, yeah.
and the amount of memory in the computer,
Right.
it requires deep memory and high speed.
And Mike, you're over there. I'm sorry, did I?
I'm sorry, I was turning that way to check something, but go ahead.
That's okay, Mike. All right, have you ever been on a cruise ship doing a thing?
A cruise, I got a funny story about that. I applied to the cruise. No, the short answer is no. The longer answer is I was all excited about playing some cruise ships, and I sent out a bunch of resumes, and I got busy. And this is when I first got married. And about 6 years and 3 kids later,
That's when they decided.
I got a phone call. Mr. Purcell, I do available to come on the cruise. I go, where are you going out of Miami? Okay, fine. He goes, how long is it for? He goes, 5 months. And I'm on the phone like this going, I look at my wife, and there's
She's shaking her head.
kids
no, right?
running. I didn't even ask her. I looked at the kids running around and her holding the baby, and I went, I don't think I can make it this time. But now my youngest is 17, so I'm ready to go.
Okay, so anybody out there that has cruise ships on their site,
Well,
we have 3 guys that are ready.
I was going to say, a guy with Mike's talent, they would work you to the bone because, and you can vouch for this.
You work 4 hours a night, 7 nights
You will,
a week,
because
literally.
if you have you're a singer like him and a comedian like me, maybe I have music in my show, and he's a singer, you're going to be working with me, you're going to play for him, and then you're going to play in the lounge during dinner, and then they're going to put you in the orchestra for the big Cirque du Soleil show. And poor Mike, you probably say to yourself, I've never worked so hard in my life. And people see, when you're on the outside looking in, it looks very glamorous. You're on a cruise ship, how tough can it be? But if you see Alaska for 5 straight weeks, trust me, it gets kind of old, after a while. So.
It's
I'm not
probably
complaining.
that way with any glamorous thing. It
Sure.
seems glamorous to the outside,
Right.
But the inside, it's like, oh no, not again! Another champagne and
Right.
caviar reception. Oh my!
Well, how many entertainers have said, rock stars have screamed out, "Hello, Albany," when they're in,
Buffalo.
Plattsburgh or Buffalo, and it's because after a while it just gets.
Well, what's the line? If it's Tuesday, it must be Peoria or
Yeah,
something like that.
Exactly.
The line was Belgium, but yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's tough. Now, Franco, you got New Year's resolution you'd like to share?
A New Year's resolution. To follow through on projects I've begun. Following through is not always easy. I'm easily distracted.
I think, well, you're an entertainer. You're probably ADD like me and Mike over here. You know?
Yeah.
You're busy all the time.
I used to think ADD was 2 and 2 are 4, but no, it's something else.
Absolutely.
Well, I know that Mike certainly is very talented, and he's been busy. I've been just trying to connect with him to talk about the show, and he says, well, I'm doing 4 gigs today, and I'm doing
Right.
that, and he's going, and I'm sure it's
He's
the
a very
same thing
busy
with
guy,
you on the
right.
holidays.
And especially during this time of year.
Yeah.
You know, comedy has become a lot more office parties. Want to do a little comedy. You know, they had the magician, they've had the, you know, this and that, and a little stand-up comedy, especially getting back to what you said, with the news being so depressing, people want their spirits uplifted a little bit, and the comedy is a good fit for a nice holiday party.
Do you find that you have to really read the paper to get new material, or?
Well, I live in New York State, the capital of the most dysfunctional state in the country, and if you can't find material here in New York State. When I got back into broadcasting a few years back, I had a talk show in the Albany market. It was literally weeks after the Spitzer thing happened, and then from there it was Espada, it was Hevesy, it was, you know, the Joe Bruno thing. It was like one thing after another, and I said, I don't have to write anything. All I have to do is show up in the morning, turn the mic on, and flip through the paper. So I did a lot of parodies. I do a lot of. You know, if Bill Clinton screws up in the news, I could literally record me doing him on the phone in advance, and literally me and my partner would be talking to him on the phone about it, and with the sound effect of a phone call. So, you know, you could. That's the beauty of radio. It's theater of the mind, and you can really
Nobody really knows. Well, that's your imagination takes over.
Absolutely.
Franco, you do opera. You do it all. I have one of his recordings, and I play it because it's just incredibly good. What is your favorite type of music to sing?
I don't mean to sound cute, but whatever I'm singing at the moment, I'm trained through conservatory and then Juilliard and whatnot for classical music, and I've done a lot. But I've also really enjoyed Broadway productions on Broadway and around the country. And as I said, since 1982, my focus has been, I have sung operas, I have sung concerts, classical, but my focus has been a communicative show, one in which there's a much more intimate relationship with the audience, and I've loved it. And I had the opportunity to headline at Caesars in Atlantic City, and I sold out 5 times in an 18-month period. Not because I was something special, except insofar as I was new, and I did what they wanted, and they liked the way I did it.
And people liked what you did.
And so those were thrilling times. Now I'm teaching, and it's everything that I've ever done or thought plays on everything I do and think today. And that's just the way it continues to happen. And it's a wonderful life.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, yeah, getting back to that movie you mentioned there. Yeah. What a segue that was.
I wish I had a bell I could ring.
I was waiting for the angel there.
Yeah, there you go.
In Zazu's pedals, right?
Or Zazu's pedals, that too.
I don't know if we have time to do this, but I was going to play that little holiday parody I did this time.
I don't know if you can get it up next to the mic.
Yeah, I was going to say, I could play it right on the phone.
Sure.
This should work. We'll see. No, that's the wrong song.
We love doing things improv.
I always hit the wrong one.
Every week I do a show, it's improv. I never know what's going to happen.
I got to turn it off now. I don't even know how to do that, so I'll just turn it off.
Well, you know, we have Mike here who can play us out, right? And do some stuff.
I was going to do a little.
Well, we got plenty of time. We got another 5 minutes or so.
Yeah.
All right, well, yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah, I do my own vocal impressions, you know. I mean,
I can always see that the technology.
I like to do vocal impressions of Steve VanZandt.
Just when you think you got the technology down your street.
Oh, no, that's not Steve.
There's Kermit.
That's Kermit.
I know Kermit sometimes likes to sing.
I'll have a green
blue
Christmas without you. I'll have a green
blue
Christmas without you. Declarations of green,
no, blue,
blue on a red Christmas tree.
Make up your mind.
Won't mean a thing, dear, if you're not here with me. I'll have a green, blue Christmas, that's certain.
And when that
green
heartache starts hurting,
you'll be doing all right with your
just a second.
Christmas of white. But I'll have a green Christmas
And I'm sure Al Gore would love that.
Absolutely.
Well, when you have a cold like I do, it's hard to sing.
Well, you did a good Kermit. The Kermit with a cold. There you go. Yeah. Well, let me see if I can. I'll try one more time. I think I might
He's still working on it.
This is pretty, right. Here we go. It's called Time. It's called Time to Go. Here we go. I don't know if we're gonna get this.
Oh, the smell outside is frightful, and the bums are getting spiteful. Hey, Wall Street ain't Skid Row. Time to go, time to go, time to go. Well, they don't show signs of stopping, even though the temperature's dropping. Turn the lights out on the freak show. Time to go, time to go, time to go. When they finally give up the fight, oh, how they'll hate going back to the norm. So take a tip from a guy on the right. Take a bath, get a life, and conform. So stop your socialist crying, oh, and try some job applying. There ain't nothing that you are owed. Time to go, you got B.O. Time to go. 99%.
Wonderful.
Oh,
And you do
it's
sound like
time
Dean
to
Martin.
fold the tent.
Yeah, and like I said, you know, I don't look like any of these people. I'm this big, tall, goofy, 6'5" guy. But if you know, that's what I love doing, the theater of the mind stuff with the parodies and on radio,
Yeah.
and then you can kind of fool people a little bit. One of the fun Schenectady stories I have from years ago, Don Weeks, who I
Don.
love, I'm sure you do, great guy, legend. I always loved Johnny Carson, and about 20 years ago, his producer calls me up, and he goes, one of the things he's wanted to do on his bucket list, he wants to interview Johnny Carson. He had just retired Johnny Carson from The Tonight Show. And he goes, we got to make it look like it was really hard to pull it off, so we don't give it away, but we want to convince him that we've actually got the interview.
Oh, Johnny Carson on the
Yeah, on the radio.
Oh,
and
my
so,
God.
So we made it look like it was very, very difficult. We jumped through all these hoops, we kept delaying it, and finally they said, well, we've got Johnny Carson. He's going to do the interview with you. So the day comes, and we thought, you know, we'd have a minute or two, and the cat would be out of the bag. Well, he was hook, line, and sinker. We were taking phone calls from from ladies that grew up listening to Johnny.
Time, but this is a great story.
Yeah, and so so we actually convinced him, and then from that point on, he used to play it every once in a while.
He's such a great guy.
Terrific guy.
Okay, if you want to play a little bit more, Mike, we're going out.
Absolutely. Yeah, baby. A little jazzy version.